Well, hello there and welcome to Travels with Geordie. If this is your first visit, my name is Peter Knowles and I live on this classic wooden motor cruiser here in Victoria, British Columbia, along with the loving memory of my pup Geordie, all the while trying to get her fixed up for some pretty major cruising, and we're in the midst of a pretty big project, but more importantly than that, yes, more importantly than that is Merry Christmas. This video was first broadcast on Boxing Day 2020. Oh, what a year it's been. My heartfelt empathy goes out to those of you who are not able to be with your family, friends, or who you would have chosen to be with this holiday season, and I really hope that you're finding a way to celebrate with them virtually or with a circle of friends or whatever it is you're doing to have the very, very best time this holiday season, and most importantly a break from all the stress of 2020. I am very fortunate that I am in a very, very small bubble of some very, very good friends, and it's been a wonderful way to enjoy the holidays because I am a long way from my daughters who I'm not able to see this Christmas or for quite a while. Anyway, happy holidays to you all. Let's get to work.
And one of the things I want to do while I have the bilge open here is deal with these shivs for the steering system. They've all been installed and aligned, but I want to improve the fastening to the framing.
Okay, so as you can see, the shivs are currently being attached with these cheap dead screws. These little stainless steel wood screws are only 1/2 inch long. They're just to hold it to the block. These long deck screws are going through and holding it to the stringer. In this case, this is actually the shelf for the sole. Even if I put really big screws in here, that's not enough strength for me. I want to be able to through bolt these. So what I'm doing is I'm taking this nice stainless steel threaded rod and I'm drilling holes all the way through it, all the way through the stringer, and on the back side I'm going to put nuts. But even more than that, because this is not parallel to the back, I don't want the nut to be sitting askew and possibly bend this and possibly compromise its strength. I'll show you a way that I'm actually going to counterbore from the back side. But anyway, let's get started with some of this. I'm going to do this one first because this screw is actually holding it all together right now. So if I take this out of here, oops, reverse Peter, and let's drill that out. This, I'm using a very long drill bit known as an aircraft bit. I've mentioned this before. I have no idea why this is called an aircraft bit. I don't know why you have to drill long holes in aircraft, but maybe some of you aviation people can help me with this. Now this hole is going to be a little bit of a hack. If you follow straight through, I'm going to arrive right at the bulkhead. So I'm going to angle ever so slightly to cheat, just so I have enough room to make sure I get that nut on there. So this is an alignment joy, and we're off. And I'm through. Whoa, it's hot. Okay, I think I probably won't show you for this one because you're not going to be able to see anything. Wait till I get to this one. Let me just do this one. Okay, well with this one done, the screw is now redundant and I can pull it out and show you the process. Starting with drilling it out. Now again, alignment here is key. I'm going to shift a little bit left with this one as well. So I'm not so close to the arrangement that I've already done that one because I shifted left. I think you understand what I mean. I'm intentionally shifting left. This is where it gets fun. This drill up this drill bit in the drill the wrong way. So what that means is with the flutes in the chuck. Now you say, why on earth are you doing that? Well, it's so that I don't damage the flutes when I do the next thing. And the next thing is to mount this little counterbore on the end of the drill bit after it's passed through the hole, in other words like this, and then put it in reverse and draw it back through the stringer just far enough to make a tidy little counterbore that's properly in line with the hole so the nut on the threaded rod isn't misaligned. It's a bit of a fiddle. I'm going to take the drill bit out of the drill so that the weight of the drill doesn't risk breaking it while I'm doing this operation. Pass the bit through backwards until it comes through, and then gingerly place this over the end. Now I'm not going to show you this because there's just about no way for you to see it anyway, okay? Then I got to go far enough that I can get this tiny Allen key on the various Allen screws, grub screws on this counter bore, and I can tell you this is painstaking, but it's satisfying. There we go. This would be a lot easier if I wasn't having to perch in a curved bowl. Okay, now the fun part. And that's to re-chuck up the drill on the flutes, put the drill in reverse. I'm going to take you off your stand. Hopefully you can see a little bit of it. Down in there. I don't know. And that's all I need. Beauty. The threaded rod. About to there. Give myself a little extra here. Right there. Cut off with a cutoff wheel. Load the outer end with a washer and a nut. And reach in behind and just manage to get that nut onto the other end. And threaded. There we go. Excellent. My years as a child using Meccano taught me a lot about how to get small fasteners to fit in tight spaces. Okay. Now, you might say, Peter, why aren't you using any kind of locking device here? Either a lock washer or a locker nylock or something like that. And it may be that I do. In the back, I'm not worried about them coming loose at all because the nuts are basically being embedded into the wood. Up here in the front, it's possible that I will replace these nuts with nylocks. But in the meantime, that is bulletproof. Any one of these would be strong enough to deal with the tension I'm going to put into them. 4 is bulletproof.
Wow, we've just had something of a pretty bitter squall outside. Ran out and checked the lines. Big wind came up, big rain. Anyway, I think we're okay and it's sort of settled down. All right, next little project. I think I've told you enough times about the mess down here. Well, we're going to get to work in it a little bit now. I've mentioned that I'm putting new engine beds in outside the existing engine beds, and they'll be Douglas fir 6x6s. Okay, so what I need to do, because I've ordered a brand new Beta Marine engine and I've ordered the special custom bespoke, isn't that a great word, mounts for that engine, I have to tell them where the engine beds are going to be and in what relationship to the propeller shaft that you might be able to see behind that wood. And then they'll do a drawing, which I will then approve, and then they'll make the feet, they'll come with the engine, and if it doesn't fit, it's all my fault. So I have to do some careful measurements now to make sure that that's all going to fit properly. Yeah. First thing to do is to get the prop shaft flange off of there. And it's kind of a shame. That was purchased at great expense from Florida because it's a very unusual size. It was from an 1.5-inch shaft up to the tiny little output flange of the Borg-Warner 71 series transmission, which I had recently. Anyway, it's rubbish now, or maybe someone needs it, who knows.
I was very fortunate that my friend Alex has a gear puller and he was willing to lend it to me. In fact, I have plenty of people with gear pullers that would be willing to lend them to me, so I'm a very fortunate fellow. Okay, let's get that going. Unfortunately, this particular gear puller is metric. Who'd have thought there was even such a thing? And I don't have access to my metric tools right now, so I'm very gingerly going to use vice grips on the hex end of this. There we go. Now some of you will notice that there's a divot in here for a bolt to go through on the clamp. However, this particular version of the split flange does not have an interference bolt, which I determined when I was putting it on. Anyway, good. All right, so one of the first things I'm going to have to determine is where is the flange in terms of this direction. Now you might say, Peter, this shaft may have moved up and down in the stern tube, but I've actually had a mark on here right where this was in relation to this floor ever since I started playing with the boat, so it hasn't moved. But what I do need to do is know where the face of the flange is going to be, so when I make dimensions for the engine and transmission, where the face of the transmission flange is meant to be. Now, I happen to have with me the original flange off this boat, which is the correct Borg-Warner, but also meets up with the PRM transmission I'm using. And this flange actually does have an interference bolt. In other words, when that bolt goes through there, it has to go through that little groove and another one opposite, giving it a really great lock. There is also a key, which you can't see, which is around the outside of the shaft. So I need to know where the flange is going to be. And to figure that out, I need to measure forward from the notch for the bolt, 2 3/4. 2 3/4. Okay, so if I transfer that to here, I'm going to say it's 3 inches to the face of the flange from where the bolt is. So the flange is going to be 1/4 of an inch further forward than the face of the shaft. Okay, easy. So the next step is to find a way to align the propeller shaft with the future engine beds. Well, I know the engine beds are going to be 5.5 inches high, which is dressed down from 6. And I know they're going to sit on top of the floors. Well, there's enough left of the floors on the inside here that if I'm to take a relatively common piece of 2x6 and just set it on there, the top of this represents the top of the engine bed. Let's put one on the other side. Couldn't be easier. Let's put some screws in to keep that solid. Alright, so that all seems pretty straightforward, but how do I project the propeller shaft forward to measure up with the sticks? With a level? No. With a handy dandy, lasery, levelly, you can't see it because it's not very bright. I'll have to turn the light on down in here a little bit. This thing has actually been remarkably handy for a few things I won't look in the end. So I'm going to go down there, put it on the propeller shaft, measure the offset between the laser and the center of the propeller shaft, and measure where it hits some datum points further forward. Yeah. Okay, I'm hoping there's enough light down here you can see what I've done. I have taped the level to the propeller shaft, and really the only reason I've taped it on is to keep it from falling in there. It is nicely machined on the bottom, so it's sitting very flat against the shaft, and it is putting a dot, well, putting a bloody mess right now, some distance above the shaft. So what I want to do first is make sure that it's the laser beam is parallel with the shaft by measuring it here and then measuring it out here. Now, when your eyes are as crappy as mine, you learn how incredibly valuable your iPhone camera is. And clicker-any. We have very close to 1/2 inch. And then at the end of the shaft, we'll do it all over again. And see what that looks like. Oh, dang! That is exactly parallel. I mean, within a 64th or something. It's certainly plenty for what we're doing here today. Now you say, what good is a laser beam that's parallel with the shaft? Well, it's super handy because now I can take this straight edge and put it across the temporary beams here, then take my tape measure again and measure down. Let's have a look, see if there's everything I need there. All right, so it's 2 1/8 right here. So I'm just gonna make another mark somewhere along. It's not actually crucial exactly where it is, as long as it's something that I can document. Let's go along some fixed distance, which I think will be 4 feet. And we'll redo this at 4 feet. And look at that. It just happens to be pretty much exactly at the line, but probably not exactly. My gut instinct is that's darn close to 1/8 of an inch. Let's just use my trick here. Let's see what that looks like. I'm gonna say that is 1/8 of an inch. Well, that's pretty cool. It almost sounds too easy. Cool. Well, I gotta say I'm really pleased with that. I've been planning that I was gonna do that this way for a little while, and it seems to have worked out relatively well. Of course, the actual center line of the prop shaft is
half an inch plus half of the shaft, which is 3/4, so it's 1.25 inches lower than that. And there's one more geez, it's getting lumpy, a little bit windy. There's one more factor, and it's a bit controversial. The propeller shaft is, if we look at it down here, it's about 3.5 to 4 feet from the gland, and that means the shaft is projecting out 3.5 or 4 feet. Now, does that mean it's drooping down? In other words, it needs to be lifted up a little bit, because I can flex this shaft up and down, probably 3/16 of an inch with relative ease. And I've had people say, and I've done some research, that there is prop shaft droop, and you need to take that into account and bring it up just a little bit. Now, the other way of thinking about that is this shaft is about 20 feet long, because the propeller is a long way back, and it's being supported at the gland, at the stuffing box, about 3 feet back from here, but then it goes about 17 feet to the cutlass. So in fact, it may be heavier in between, and in fact it may be up a little bit at this end because of that droop. Yeah, so I think I'm going to be close enough that the final alignment I can figure out with the adjustment in the motor mounts. I don't think I'm going to take any flex into account at all. Now, there's lots of people out there, you folks, that know a lot more about this than I do, so I am very, very open to any suggestions. It will be some time before I have to finish all this up, so let me know what you think of this whole process, because I'd like to get this pretty close to incredibly right. Wow, this is pretty lumpy. I think it's time for the pub. Well then, it's December 23rd, and as has become the tradition, we're going to take MV Zephyrus downtown to what's called the Causeway Marina, which is basically right in the inner harbor of Victoria, basically 10 minutes that way. And we'll spend the holidays, 10 days through New Year's, downtown, in amongst the lights and the sounds and the fun of downtown living. Well, maybe in years past, of course, in the era of COVID, that means a very small bubble of a few people and not going out, but the lights and everything and the joy of being downtown will be fabulous, and some fabulous eating. Okay then, successfully moved the tree far enough to get to the helm, and most importantly, to reach out the window to moor us downtown. We are pretty close to getting going. And there we go, we're here, downtown. I don't know why I make such a big thing of coming downtown for Christmas, but it's just such a beautiful little inner harbor here in Victoria. We have the Empress Hotel right in front, which will be lit up tonight. You can see through the masts or perhaps through the glare of the sun. The legislature is right there, which is just fabulous. But, the sad part is we're surrounded by fantastic eateries and places to drink, none of which we will be able to partake in this year. But still, it's pretty cool. All right, let's have a beverage aboard. Well, hello and welcome to the Beer of the Week live aboard MV Zephyrus here in downtown Victoria. We're moored up for the holidays in front of the Empress Hotel. It's just so fantastic to be here. And joined live on location, of course, Lady Zephyrus is right behind you, and our good friends from the marina, Ryan and Marilyn. Some of you may recognize as the pilots in our lives. We've had some fun in the planes, haven't we?
We've had some pretty good times.
Good time. Some more flying soon. Again, and thank you, Lady Zephyrus, so much for hosting us aboard MV Zephyrus for these fantastic holiday festivities. It's been great. Should just quick mention, last week's Beer of the Week t-shirt winner was, I've forgotten, Ryan, you know.
J. Ked.
J. Ked. Get in touch with me and we'll make sure you get your Travels with Geordie t-shirt. Okay, so straight on to the beer. Back to Souk, the brewery right around the corner here, the Oceanside Brewery in Souk, which is just around the corner. Graveyard of the Pacific. We don't know much about it except that it's a amber ale, and it has a schmancy, plasticky, toppy thing here, which Ryan has assured me all I need to do is grab and peel on and...
or maybe just twist.
This may take a few takes.
Can I try?
We'll be right back. Oh, go ahead.
Let me try. Oh, jeez. It's really not working at all.
I heard a bone.
Yeah, no, that wasn't
I
great.
think there's a knife involved.
There's got to be a knife.
Right
Okay.
back. Okay, Lady Zephyrus has kindly produced a knife to help me with this. I'll try not
This
to
is kind of
cause an injury.
dodgy, isn't it?
This is obviously meant to simulate wax, but it's obviously some sort of titanium quality plastic that... Okay, I think we're good now.
Space grade.
Of course, I'm knocking it all into the candle. You know, folks, this is not as easy as I... There we go. We're good. We're live on TV. We can't be messing around.
I think we
I swear
precisely
to God.
are messing
This
around. No, I think you're
I'm
close.
going to try it different. I'm going to cut it around the top here.
Oh no, the thumb, it looks precarious.
Well, it is precarious.
Folks, you can see I've never done this before. That's because I've never paid what this bottle cost before. I'm sure you're not watching all of this. Ryan, man, save me.
No, I think I'm going to switch over to the bottle opener at this point.
As long as there's a little nick, you can get it.
There
Well
we go.
done!
Whoa.
Hey,
We have beer.
Excellent. We have beer.
Nice.
Okay, Graveyard of the Atlantic. Let's pour up a couple of these. This is I don't know if it's a Roos exactly, but it's a red ale. And I'm going to pass the first one to the vessel owner, Lady Zephyrus, right behind you. There you go.
Thank you.
And then, of course, to the next lady in the room. This has been a bit of a mess, I realize that, but...
Oh, we've worked for this beer.
Thank you.
Exactly, we have. This has been a fantastic opportunity to come downtown for the holidays, and this is our third year, Lady Zephyrus?
It is.
I think it is. And it's a really fun way to have a
Thank
little
you.
staycation in town. I'm assuming there's enough beer in here to cheers you with.
Don't shortchange yourself.
Exactly. Actually, I think that worked out really, really well. All right, then.
planned.
Well, cheers to the season. And so glad
Cheers.
that we're all here. Cheers, cheers.
I like that. That is very good.
Yeah, I think we might be closer in opinion.
Really?
I don't mind that.
That's fine. Pass your beer over here.
Ladies Zephyrus, what do you think of the Graveyard of the Atlantic?
If you like caramel, it's lovely.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I would say it's not fabulous. But
More beer for me.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't
We
think
actually
it's
have
bad.
2 bottles because we thought
good.
we might be drinking tons of
I'm
this.
doing
but
real
no.
well then.
Anyway, there we go. Fabulous. Well, anyway, there we go. We're not going to run this on too long, but of course you do need a word of the week for this week, and I have asked Marilyn here to choose the word of the week for this year, and it is
Well, given that it's been the theme these past few days, butter.
butter.
Mhm.
Butter.
It's the primary ingredient.
Oh, just about everything.
All right, I'm going to be really impressed with what you can do with butter. But please, if you'd like to win a Travels with Geordie t-shirt, use the word butter, and honestly, I love the word, in a comment down below, and I'll pick at random over the next week or so. And if I choose you, you win a Travels with Geordie t-shirt. And congratulations to you in advance. Cheers and Merry Christmas. Cheers.
Merry Christmas.
Cheers. Cheers. Cheers.
Merry
Cheers.
Christmas.